Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I hope you're all having a blessed week so far. And I'm Pastor Manny. This is a ministry we have here at English Oaks called Looking Up. And Monday and Thursday, Pastor Bob and I share an encouraging thought for the day. And Pastor Bob is still on vacation, so I'll be filling in for him until he returns. And just a quick thought I have for us. There's two words that in the church community that are pretty well known. And the two words are grace and truth, right? You hear these words a lot. And what I want to just share is that there's experiences and examples and that we see out there sometimes where you have truth and you have this idea of truth and what it is and how it should be lived out, right? And a lot of times it could lead to legalism. It could lead to being really, really strict, and it could be restrictive on kids. And sometimes we see kids rebel because they were in such a home that was so strict with a bunch of rules and regulations and things like that, right? And obviously I'm not saying rules are bad or anything like that, but you have this kind of the truth and like doctrine and things like that. This is kind of the idea behind of sometimes of what truth can be, right? And then you have the other spectrum where you have grace, and grace this and it's all about grace and sometimes it's grace can be kind of too loose where oh yeah, I have grace, but then I could do whatever I want, right? And so you have like that side of the spectrum as well, which is totally not what God wants from us when we receive His grace, right? So you have these two ideas. You have grace and then you have truth, right? But what does the Bible say about this grace and truth? John 1 verse 14 actually talks about grace and truth. And so let's hear what the Bible has to say. Verse 14 says, "The Word became flesh and made His dwelling among us. We have seen His glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth." Now, what I like about this verse is that it says the Word became flesh, and this is talking about Jesus, right? So it's saying Jesus put on humanity, right? So He was fully human and He was fully God. And I know that's really hard for us to kind of comprehend, but we see in Scripture a lot of times His humanity coming out and His divinity coming out. So Jesus was fully human and fully God, right? And so this tells me that Jesus is my example when it comes to following Him, when it comes to being a Christian, when it comes to worshiping God, is that Jesus came in the flesh, and it says that He came and He made His dwelling among us. We have seen His glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, right? So this tells me too that not only Jesus is my example, but that Jesus is my example to live. Jesus is also my example of who the Father is, right? Because He has that connection with the Father. He has that relationship. And then it says this at the end of the verse. It says, He was full of grace and He was full of truth. Right, so you can't just have one or the other. Jesus was full of grace and He was full of truth, and they are one. And so to me, what the word that I think of is balance, right? Jesus was such a balanced person. He was such a balanced Christian. And for me, as a follower of Jesus, like that's what I want in my life. I want to be balanced. I want to be full of grace and I want to be full of truth. We as followers of Jesus, right, should be full of grace and we should be full of truth, right? And truth is not just like some doctrines here and there. Truth is a person. Like truth is Jesus, right? Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the way to the Father. I am the truth about the Father, and I am the life of the Father." Right? So truth is a person, and doctrines point to the source of truth, which is Jesus, right? And so us as believers, as followers of Jesus, we must be full of grace and we must be full of truth, which will bring balance to us as Christians and as believers in God, right? So that's just something I wanted to share with us today. I hope you all are blessed and have a great week. Remember, as you go out throughout the rest of this week, be full of grace and be full of truth to people. All right. The more we know truth of who Jesus is, and when we experience God's grace, right? That's the transforming power. And then when we come to know the truth and who Jesus is, we continue to be transformed by that power, right? So that's just something I want to share with us today. Take care. God bless, and have a blessed week. All right.